DC Universe Rebirth, the biggest comics event of the 21st century. The greatest graphic novels. Volume 1 collections of the best-selling comic books. Get them now wherever graphic novels are sold.
Hello, everybody. Hey, if you want to gather around, we're going to do a special art presentation here. We're going to show you how to draw some Wonder Woman, and we've got a very special guest star. Let's see if we can get her image up on the screen. Can I have a little bit of a round of applause, please, for Miss Cat Staggs?
Yay.
Cat, you happy to be here?
I'm ecstatic to be here. I apologize, I have no voice, so I'm doing the...
I'll just be very sexy. We'll do it that way.
Okay, now you've started a sketch of Wonder Woman.
Yes. I started a sketch of...
Who out there is a Wonder Woman? Honey, are you a Wonder Woman fan?
She is.
Okay, good, good. Well, everybody's a Wonder Woman fan.
Close enough.
Okay, now you've started this
I
already,
did.
right?
I started it a little
Because we
bit.
only have like 15 minutes.
Right.
But now, tell everybody out there what you think the key is to drawing Wonder Woman. What do you start with when you're doing Wonder Woman?
Well, it depends which Wonder Woman. If I'm doing this Wonder Woman, which is Linda Carter, likeness is key.
Right.
For her biggest selling point are her eyes, so gotta make sure you get those right. And I'm gonna start with this. Just a brush dip pen. Her biggest selling point are her eyeballs.
Who's harder to draw, the comic book Wonder Woman or Linda Carter Wonder Woman?
Probably it's more of a comic book one. I don't have to worry who it looks like. I can just draw a woman. So, Linda Carter Wonder Woman's a little more of a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now in general, is Wonder Woman your favorite character to draw?
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Drawn a lot. I've drawn her a lot lately, and it's getting to be one of my favorites.
Well, what are you working on now?
I just finished Adventures of Supergirl.
Adventures of Supergirl.
Wonder Woman 77. And then I've got a creator-owned book that I'm working on as well.
Okay.
Written by Gail Simone.
Very nice.
Yes.
So now the best part of drawing Wonder Woman, you know, you gave us the key was the eyes and the likeness.
Yes.
We'll go both sides here. Your favorite part of drawing Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman? I mean,
Well, is it difficult, for instance, to draw the hair and get the hair right?
The hair is a challenge, yes. It's very specific. Her hair is incredibly specific. So, getting just enough body, just enough oomph, just enough, she's known for her hair. So...
Well, when we're doing as we go through the demonstration, when we get to the hair, you got to show us how to do how to get the right body to the hair, the right fullness. Is that
Yes.
Is that the tricky part you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Very Pantene hair, yes. I will get there in 1 second.
Here, can you scoot it up just a little? There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm also lefty, so otherwise I'm drawing upside down.
Now look at that likeness. You guys know Linda Carter, right? This is Linda Carter. And the trick to Linda is her eyes?
Trick to Linda is her eyes. Very specific. They're piercing, and if you can't make them piercing, you missed it.
Okay, yeah. Give us the intel on what you're doing now with the hair.
Right now, I'm basically creating one of the curls.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got all these curls on the bottom. So what I'm doing right now is giving the highlighted area. Then I'm going to fill in the blocks around it.
So the area you're leaving white is just to show the highlights.
Yeah. Yep.
She's got a lot of hair. How long does it take you to do Linda Carter's hair?
I usually save it for last.
Do you?
It's usually the last thing I do, yeah. It's the most time-consuming part.
What's the longest time you've ever spent doing somebody's hair?
Wonder Woman can take 30, 40 minutes sometimes. She's got a lot of curls.
So when you all see artists out there sketching really quickly and they'll do like a 10-minute sketch of something, that's not right. That's not how it really goes, right?
No, that's very abbreviated. Well, that's not true. Some people are faster. I'm a bit of a tortoise instead of a hare, so...
Well, that's why people like sketching Batman really quickly, because there's no hair, right?
Yes, and half a face.
Right. So when you're going good, when you're at home and you're working, you've got a comic book script in front of you that you have to draw.
Yep.
You average what, a page a day?
Yeah, usually, yeah. If I'm coloring it, page in a day and a half.
Okay, and your day is full of 8, 9, 10 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
That's generous.
Sometimes longer?
Sometimes longer.
Really?
No, well, yeah, sometimes longer. Of course, with the baby now, it's it's a lot shorter.
I would think it would be a little more difficult to draw with a baby in the house.
It is.
How old's your baby?
18 months.
What's your name?
Vivian.
Can we have a round of applause for Vivian,
Yes,
please?
give it up.
Do you know how hard it is to draw when you've got a baby in the house?
Yes. Yes.
She's 18 months?
18 months.
Does she like Wonder Woman?
Oh my gosh, she's obsessed with Wonder Woman. She is Wowo in our house right now. That's what she gets called.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll spend a day on a page
Roughly, yeah.
penciling and inking.
Yep.
That's the glamorous life of a comic book
It's a
artist?
glamorous life, yep.
So for each issue, it takes you about a month, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a fast artwork, right?
No.
It's not a fast art form. Well, now, okay. When you were reading comic books back in the day and you decided you wanted to be a comic book artist,
Right.
did you think it would be as hard as it is?
I mean, I've been drawing since I was a child, so I kind of knew what my part of the job would be. It's way more labor intensive than I ever thought.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pulling, like you said, 8 to sometimes 14 hours a day, depending on how deadlines fall. So, yeah, it's time consuming. It's like making a TV show or a movie.
One page at a time.
One page at a time.
And now your biggest break in comics, when you realized that you could do this for a living?
Smallville, season 11.
Smallville?
Yep.
Does anybody remember Smallville?
Got to work on that. I worked on that for 3.5 wonderful years, written by Brian Q. Miller. It's fantastic. I miss that book every day. I love
So
that
you
book.
came into the business doing likenesses. I mean, you
I
had
did.
to do likenesses, right?
I did.
A lot
I've
of
always
artists
done
don't
it.
like doing likenesses.
Yeah, I have no problem doing it.
Does that make you better artist? Having to rise to that challenge every month?
Yeah.
I got to draw Tom Weller. I got to draw Linda Carter.
Yeah. I started doing Star Wars. Did Star Wars stuff for about 10 years. They're very, very hardcore on getting the likeness right, so
I'll bet.
kind of like beating a drum.
Okay. Just so you know, we don't normally mention Star Wars comics here, but I don't know if anybody knows it.
That was pre-takeover.
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. Okay, so tell us what you're doing now. You're filling in the
I'm
hair.
just gonna fill in the hair just so we get some actual drawing done.
Now, on a normal day, this is a normal page. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be using would you be using the same tools and going at the same speed?
I do. Same speed, no. I'd be going much slower.
Okay.
But yeah, I use Copic markers, this little Pentel brush right here, and highlights. Jim Lee turned me onto this, actually, for highlights.
Oh, using the whiteout?
It's Correcto, yeah.
Yep.
Whiteout. Then these little gel pens are great for detail. So, yeah.
And so you don't have an inker coming in after you or
Nope.
hiding those highlights. It goes
That's
straight
all.
to the colorist at that point.
Yeah, straight from me to the colorist. Yep. This is working.
Now, lately, you've been doing some Supergirl stuff.
I have.
What's
yes.
what's the difference between drawing Wonder Woman and drawing Supergirl?
I think Supergirl's a much more playful character. So the challenge in body type and
Facial expressions?
facial
things like
expressions, yeah, stuff like that. She's much more playful. Wonder Woman's a little more serious. Even Linda Carter, Wonder Woman is a little more serious.
That? I'm sorry, do you draw Linda Carter more serious?
She's pretty serious a lot of the time.
Yeah? Okay.
It's a campy show, but when she's doing her business, she's on the ball.
Yeah, she's serious.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Very serious. But you know what? When you're Linda Carter, you've earned the right to be serious.
Yes. Sure.
Okay, if there are any artists out in the audience, and they're thinking about getting into comic books, what's the best advice you think you could give them?
Draw every day.
Draw every day?
Draw every day. Learn your anatomy. Learn your anatomy like it's the back of your hand. Learn your anatomy. I can't stress that enough.
What kind of things should they draw?
Don't just focus on fights. Focus on people having conversations. If you can make a conversation interesting, then you've got probably 50% of your comics done. Because it's not just fighting. You're going to have pages where people just talk for 3 pages, and you need to make that interesting. I walk around and study how people have conversations with each other and look at their body language as they're talking. And
now you have to worry about angle and perspective and
Sure.
the sort of camera angle and things like that. You don't get any
yeah.
direction. You don't get that level of direction from your script.
Sometimes, depends on the writer. Some give more direction than others. Some will usually just lay out a scene and leave it up to me to fill in however I want them to go.
So in a lot of ways, you're the cinematographer,
Director, casting director,
the wardrobe person,
wardrobe,
the hair and makeup,
lighting. Yeah. Yeah.
We probably don't pay you enough.
No. Now that you mention it, no.
What is it you're laying in now?
Right now, I'm just laying in some tones, some shadows. I'm cheating a little. I'm using the paper as a base tone, but I'm gonna get some quick shadows in here.
Right. So usually you're doing this obviously on a white board, the regular comic board.
Right.
So you don't have that start of skin tone.
Right.
But now, how much of the effects and the shadow and the shading do you leave to the colorist?
If there is a colorist involved, I just will do straight pen and inks.
Okay.
But also depends on the colorist. Some hate gray tones. Some just want straight pen and ink. Some don't mind it.
Okay, so you have that conversation with your colorist beforehand.
Yeah. I'll say, do you want me to lay in the shadows, or do you want to just go and, So, yeah, it just depends on the colorist.
Yeah, well, who gets to decide? Do you prefer to lay in the shadows on your own, or would you rather have your colorist do it? Or does it depend
I
upon
want
the
to make their
colorist?
job as easy as possible, so whatever makes them work faster.
Okay.
Like if they're fighting the shadows, then I'd rather not put them in there, because they got to get their job done too, so the book can get done.
Yep, makes sense.
So, yeah.
And are you over in Artist Alley?
I am just outside of Artist Alley in booth 4903.
4903?
4903,
And
yeah.
this is what you're doing there every hour of the convention?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, you're giving her the eye shadows as well?
Yep.
So I'm sorry, so how many times have you drawn Linda Carter, do you think?
Boy, in the last couple of years, quite a bit.
You feel you know her pretty well by now?
It's getting to be practically memorized.
Do you know if she's ever seen your artwork?
I have seen her post once.
Yeah?
Yeah, she posted it one
That
time.
must be a thrill.
Yeah,
Seeing-
I know
yeah.
she's seen the book, so yeah. So she's got to have seen it at some point.
Yeah, well, it's hard to miss. Well, that's a bit of a thrill, though, when Linda Carter posts your artwork.
Yes, it is.
Did you watch the show when you were
I
when
did.
You were younger?
Well, you're giving my age away, Larry. God.
I mean, on VHS and
Yeah, on
reruns?
No, I watched it when it was my mom and I watched it when I was a kid. Every week. So.
Well, now, for anybody under 18 years of age, it's on DVD, so you can catch up on it pretty easily.
Yeah. And
Or you
you
can
should.
just read the comics.
My baby is already loving it.
Okay, well, I think we have to wrap this up in a
All right.
couple of minutes.
No problem.
Let's. You want to add one more
I'm gonna add a little bit of highlights.
highlights?
Yeah. There's
final
a
touches?
Pencil. So.
Oh my. So what are you using there? Is that just a white pencil?
It's actually a charcoal pencil.
Boy, that gives it all
Yeah.
the highlight. That makes it jump, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
great. I love these things.
Look at you with your negative space. Where do they teach things like, how do you experiment with like the white charcoal pencil? I mean, how do you pick that up? Do artists talk amongst themselves and say, hey,
Yeah,
this
we
is
usually do. We're like, hey, this thing works really well for this. Like I said, Jim Lee turned me on to the whiteout thing. So it's like, and then it's just, it's experimentation. I learned about this tonal paper stuff and highlights and shadows in college.
Nice.
Did a lot of this. I was big into charcoal in college, but it's way too messy to do comics that way.
Do artists ever give you advice that doesn't work out?
Yes.
Well, I mean, obviously, when Jim Lee gives you advice, you take it as sound advice. But,
Right. Yeah, it's it's like take everything with a grain of salt. If it works, it works.
What's the best advice that an artist ever gave you? I mean, even if it's as simple as use this correct fluid.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chiarello turned me onto this pen. It was the best thing I ever learned.
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to use it, but it was a life changer for learning how to ink stuff. So.
When you were just starting out, and just learning, and teaching yourself, and training, basically, how many hours a day do you think you would draw?
Oh, all the time. I remember
just to give a sense of how intensive the
I remember
practice is.
I remember taking my drawing pad to school and drawing like during lunch, or any in between classes, or in college. Most of my notes ended up being pictures rather than jotting down what they were actually saying. It was easier for me to remember it that way. So.
Were you studying art in school?
I did. I studied, got a degree in fine art, actually. Portraiture.
Well, I've heard stories of, artists when they're trying to break in, they're training themselves, they'll spend a week just drawing hands. Or a week just drawing noses.
Like I said, you have to study the body like you have to know it. have to know how an elbow bends. You have to know how a finger moves. You have to know, yeah, it's all essential. So let's do.
Okay, so the best advice: draw as often as you can.
Draw as often as you can.
Know your anatomy.
Know your anatomy. And if you're, especially if you're drawing comics, you need to study how people interact with each other. You need to know all of that stuff. It's boring, but you need to know it.
So you got to be able to draw the quiet stuff.
Yep.
Is the quiet stuff actually harder to draw than, the bombastic stuff?
Yeah, and to keep it interesting, because that's where you really focus on the acting, because you're relying on the person's face most of the time, or their body language, to sell what they're talking about. So, yeah, you need to. It's actually more challenging.
So you'll know when you're drawing a character. I can't have her slouch, or I can't have him leaning against the table in quite this manner.
Sure.
So you have to get in the head of every character that you're actually that you're drawing.
Yeah. Motivation is key.
The more we talk about this, the harder and harder it seems.
It's very challenging. The book I'm working on is my most challenging thing I've ever done. It's relying heavily on selling and acting, because I've got characters that have pulled a Freaky Friday situation.
Oh, okay.
A mind switch, and I've got
You've got to portray
female
that.
in a male and female, and I have to relay the body language of how a man would actually do it, but in a woman's body, but sell that this is a man's technically in here. You know what I mean?
Yep. So he would sit a different way.
I just have to study how men sit versus how women sit, how men hold things versus how women hold things. It's a big challenge. It's really great. I'm having a wonderful time.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but it's something that it uses different muscles in your brain, a different way of thinking of things.
Yeah.
Okay, final touches. I think we got to wrap up. We're coming up on the hour.
That's cool.
You guys have really seen this take shape over the past. How long have we been talking? 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
We should have taken a picture of it when we first put it up there.
Normally this would have taken me about 2 hours.
Well, it goes a lot faster when there's not a baby crying in the background,
right, yeah. Yeah, we can call this done.
Okay, here, center it under the screen. Can we have a round of applause, please, for the Wonder Woman?
Thank you.
And a round of applause for Cat Staggs, please.
Hey.
You want to give that away, Dave?
Sure. Who wants it?
I do.
You've got the tiara. What's up with that?
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We're going to have more art demonstrations in a little while. So stick around if you want.
You're welcome.